What if I told you a truck driver cracked the code to building a crypto empire? Meet Bitcoin Ben. He went from driving 18-wheelers to creating 6 different ways for regular people to stack Bitcoin and build wealth. This isn't just another crypto course. This is a complete ecosystem where you earn while you learn. First up, the confidential bulk purchase program. Get Bitcoin at wholesale prices through group buying power. Then there's Home to HODL. Convert your home equity directly into Bitcoin instead of cash. Need funding? The Loans for Bitcoin program gets you the capital to buy more crypto. Want passive income? Private Key Capital puts your Bitcoin to work. Hungry for something different? Bitcoin Ben's tokenized beef lets you invest in real cattle backed by blockchain technology. And if you want to mine? Bitcoin Ben's mining program gets you started with the right equipment and knowledge. But here's the kicker. Bitcoin Ben's Crypto Club pays you to learn. Earn 10% on direct referrals, 5% on second level, 2% on third level. This might be the only membership where you make more than you pay. Ben went from 10 years behind the wheel to becoming the world's most unlikely crypto expert. Now he's sharing everything through live training, community events, and proven systems that work. Ready to stop watching from the sidelines? Join Bitcoin Ben's Crypto Club today and start stacking sats while building your financial future. Your truck driving days are over. Your crypto empire starts now.
Yes, it does. Good morning, everybody. It's your favorite truck driver in the whole wide world, ex-truck driver in the whole wide world, Bitcoin Ben, here for the daily. What in the flying pluck is going on with cryptocurrencies and the Bitcoin? And really, oh, hang on a second. Oh, my God. Oh, I almost forgot. I have to take my vitamin water, also known as Red Bull. I'm sure there's something good in there for you. Okay, everyone watching right now, please hit like and subscribe to the channel. Helps the algorithms catch us. An inconvenient truth, shall we say. So let's jump right in. All right. Coinbase, Brian Armstrong, you sneaky little bastard. I knew you were having conversations with Trump and Mondani. That's a good little bridge right there, and a good way to get you in the good graces of the new New York administration, so that cute little bit license you have remains relevant. Just saying, they are issuing a UBI, Universal Basic Income, of $12,000 for a few low. I think it's 160 here. Let me bring up a screen real quick. Share screen. Here we go. There we go. Let me bring it up. Voila. Let me do this. Okay. Coinbase fund a basic income pilot in New York. Plans to send $12,000 in its USDC, $8,000 up front, and $800 a month. Now, the reason that they're doing this is because this is a rollout of what's to come. Now, initially, mark my words, initially, this is going to use something tethered, wink, wink, to the dollar. Initially, this will eventually switch into universal Bitcoin income, where mining operations across the country. And now, this actually ties in with other news, where we have an announcement that you can now actually pay your federal income tax using the Bitcoin. And if you do whatever Bitcoin you use, you don't have to pay any capital gains. Now, they're rolling this out for getting rid of taxes. Trump is getting rid of the income tax. Now, you say, Ben, how the hell is he going to do that? How are we going to afford anything? Folks, breaking news, our taxes hasn't fucking, that's why we're $180 gazillion in fucking debt, because our taxes ain't been paying the bills. That's why we're so much in friggin' debt. And Trump knows that. And we've all heard, wait, if they can print money, why the fuck are we paying taxes? Hence, Trump is switching over, and watch for it. Watch for it. Trump, as they implement the, if you hold treasury bonds or another reserve asset of the American government, Bitcoin, if you hold that, you can issue your stable coin. As this rolls out, initially, Trump is going to use the last year of taxes. Mark my words. Mark my words. This is the last year of federal income taxes. I'm telling you, folks, there are people in Washington, D.C. who are already writing this legislation and preparing for the Supreme Court argument. I'm telling you, it's already coming. Let's look at it like this. All right, after 9/11, all of a sudden we have this Patriot Act out of fucking nowhere. It's like, wait, how the hell Washington, D.C. can't do shit quick? But all of a sudden we have this Patriot Act. Oh, look at this thing we found in a drawer. Well, that's actually being reversed. Now, I'm not saying initially the Patriot Act is actually being reversed. The process is being reversed, where they're preparing the legislation now. Coinbase is involved in this legislation. So is Kraken. So are the Winklevosses. They're all involved. In fact, last month they were at the White House doing this, creating the legislation for replacing not only the income tax, but they're not just gonna use tariffs, because with going along with, hey, if you want to pay your income tax in Bitcoin, you can. They're also linking it with the tariffs. Russia just this morning announced their legislations for cryptos, and the Bitcoin will be done before the end of this month. Really? Going to wrap it up before the end of the year, huh? That's interesting. Because they know what's coming. They know Trump is going to implement where if you pay your tariffs using the Bitcoin, that it will be accepted. This is all coming. This is how America rapidly accumulates the actual Bitcoin. Now, remember, as they accumulate the Bitcoin and the price of the Bitcoin goes up, they can issue more treasury dollars in a digital form, because then you are no longer reliant on the Federal Reserve. And a little bird whispered from Washington, D.C., shout out, I am so late to the fucking party on everything. Hang on one second. There's a new app I had, Signal. Now, some of you may have used this app. I had heard of it, but I never used it. Well, I had to use it so I could communicate with a friend up in Washington D.C. Actually, Signal's pretty good, according to my friend. So it's what's going on up in Washington D.C. is they're setting up next year is the last year of the IRS. Next year, they transition from the IRS to the ERS, external uh, uh, reserve service, or I is IRS. And huh? Oh, revenue service. That's right. Sorry, my bad. All right. The ERS, the External Revenue Service. That's some of you may have heard them talk about that a couple of months ago. All right. This is what's rolling out. This is what's setting up. And Coinbase just announced they're rolling out UBI out in New York. Now, why are they doing this? Why is Coinbase rolling this out? Because this is a work out the kinks of moving to a digital currency system. All right. Now, we remember Jack from Twitter. Jack with his point of sale service. If you're over in the chat, please remind me of the name. All right. They rolled out at like something like 90 million places can now accept the Bitcoin through his payment rails. Oh, thank you, Square. Thank you very much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right. This is all rolling out together because they know what we know. We know they have to print money, but they don't want it printed out of the IRS or the Federal Reserve. They don't. This last Federal Reserve chief, head of the Federal Reserve, is the last Federal Reserve chairman ever. This guy is being hired to transition and roll it into the Treasury Department. That is what the plan is. And that's they need the legislation put in place to do this. That's what the Genius Act was, and that's what the new act is. They're laying out the rails so that they can actually get this moving and get it in legislation so they can go through all of the progressive lawsuits. Because what they want to do, now this is from my boy in Washington, D.C., helping to kind of implement this. All right. They're setting it up so the progressives have to go to court to defend income tax. They know if they go to the Supreme Court that federal income tax is unconstitutional. It's never really been challenged at that level. And that's what this is all set up for. This is to get rid of the IRS and the federal income tax. Once you do that, now, this only works because of gold and the Bitcoin. And the government, Trump knows that the Bitcoin is a more accurate currency as a reserve currency because it is limited supply, right? It doesn't matter how much energy you put into mining the Bitcoin, tick tock, next block, here's your Bitcoin. You could put all of the energy in the world on hash, and no matter how much you put towards it, it doesn't produce more. Unlike gold, right? And for those of you who I think it was China, yeah, China or Australia, someone just found a fuck ton of gold like last week. It was like an amazing amount of gold, like trillions of dollars worth of gold. And they're like, oh, we found some more gold. Yeah, no shit. Because if the price of gold goes higher, that incentivizes people to apply energy and labor to get more gold. So they produce more gold. The Bitcoin isn't like that. And that's what Trump knows. That's what, because the new guy who's going to be Federal Reserve Chairman is a Bitcoin guy. He's pro the Bitcoin because he knows what the hell it is. It isn't magical digital internet money. Santa Claus didn't swing over and drop off the white paper. This is implemented to actually be the escape valve for every single country. And the model is El Salvador. Why do you think, think about this, folks, really fucking think about this. Do you think El Salvador would have been allowed to do what they do or what they did without the protection of some entities? Think about this. El Salvador is about the size of, I don't know if it's Rhode Island or something. It ain't big. You can literally drive across El Salvador in like 7 hours. All right, this is not a big fucking country. They don't have a huge military. All right. So El Salvador, what, like 4 or 5 years ago, they're like, oh, we're gonna implement Bitcoin, and we are gonna arrest all of the gangs and we are basically gonna kick out all of the CIA-led gangs and all this stuff. You think that the powers that be would have let that shit happen if there wasn't another group that was protecting them? There was. There is. El Salvador, for those of you who don't know what that means, it means the savior. All right. Now, that may or may not mean something, but damn if it ain't fucking ironic. Like, oh, what country will show us an example of what can be done? Fuck it, let's choose the savior. Seems a little odd, doesn't it? Now, for those of you in the know of the know, this plan of Trump and those associated with Trump. This has been a plan for years. It isn't like in 2016, all of a sudden, or I'm sorry, 2015, all of a sudden they're like, hey, you know what? Let's have Trump run. fuck it, no big deal. It just, let let's let's have a TV guy who and guys, if you don't know the history of the Trump family, do a little YouTube search on Trump uh, family history. It's quite unique. This Trump guy, close friends with Richard Nixon. Richard Nixon's wife was the first person to ever encourage Trump to run for president. In a letter from Richard Nixon's wife to Trump. Trump has the letter at Mar-a-Lago. This is not just a random happenstance. In 2009, right after the great, financial collapse or whatever the fuck they named it, all of a sudden, hey, there's this guy, Satoshi Nakamoto, hops on a thing and says, hey guys, I got an idea for a decentralized currency. And then in the origination block, or the Genesis block, he puts information about bailing out the banks. Do you think it was really just a bunch of cyberpunks just randomly online? Right? Hal Finney. What's his past? What did Hal Finney do before the Bitcoin? Anyone know? Well, I can tell you one thing. He had worked for the CIA. Look it up. This is a plan, guys. This is the plan to save America. And it's not just America, guys. It's the Western world all of it. Because there are global entities that have worked, bless you, have worked years, and I mean over 150 years, all right, to destroy the Western world. Now, this may sound crazy, but I could argue that they started planning this because the futurists of the time knew that we would reach this point and that there would need to be a shift from a localized government structure into a globalized government structure. Now, the argument was it centralized or was it decentralized? That was the argument. The left and the right agreed that there would need to be a globalist structure of nations. Now, initially, they tried rolling out the League of Nations. Well, the American people and legislators said, fuck you, because of how it was set up. It was very centralized. Then they're like, damn it, we got to have another war. Let's have World War II. So they roll out World War II. They roll out Hitler, who funded Hitler. A bunch of the banks, and also Limburg, and also Henry Ford, um, a lot of major press people, they all were on Hitler's side. And why were they on Hitler's side? Because Hitler was a nationalist. Now, the real war was global communism or nationalism. See, nationalism recognizes a global market. That's what nationalists are solely based on, is global markets. We here in America, we sell shit over to Afghanistan or Saudi Arabia, and they sell us oil. We go back. That is a nationalistic idea. But who also funded the Russians, the communists? It was the big banks and some of the, shall we call them, progressives of the time. That's who, because you had two splits. You had communists, which were the violent revolutionaries, and you had the progressives who were like, hey, we'll sneak into America, we'll infiltrate all of kind of their stuff, like their government, their education, their businesses, their labor, their local government, right? And so they went the revolutionary way with the communist movement. And the other side of the left went the progressive way. But there was a guy named Shaw. I can't remember his first name, but yes, thank you, George Bernard Shaw. He said, and we have it on tape, guys. He said the problem with America is the Constitution, because the Constitution, the progressives saw as negative rights. It's what the government couldn't do. So they labeled them negative rights. While we Americans were like, well, hell yeah. Hey, federal government, this is what you can't do. Because our founding fathers knew a federalist government would have to be reined in big time, big fucking time. And that's why they set up the American system the way they did, that was based on common law and Magna Carta and all this other good stuff. But so originally, when America was founded, everything was paid for with tariffs. Everything for the federal government and a lot of the state government, because Florida had tariffs. Every state had their own tariffs. And the federal government had handled all of those transactions with out of country entities. All right, look this up, guys. Florida had tariffs on New York. Georgia had tariffs on New York and Connecticut, and there were tariffs inside of America, because each of the states were basically legally nations at that time. And then the Civil War rolled out and all that bullshit, slavery bullshit. Civil War was not about slavery. It was about the consolidation of currency. That's all it was. And shifting into the new civil rights horse shit, where the government issues you your rights. That's why I don't even want to go into it. It's a bunch of bullshit. It was a bunch of progressive bullshit. And There is no arguing that. Because if you know the history, the U.S. pre-Civil War was legally completely different from the U.S. after the Civil War, after Reconstruction. I love how they call it Reconstruction, like they were building a bunch of buildings or something. No, this was constitutional reconstruction and legal reconstruction into a legal system called civil law. That's why it was called Civil War. This was to create a legal structure for civilization. Civilization is just a corporate nation. That's what a civilization is. It's a civil law system structured in the organization of a corporation. That's why they had to get rid of the trust. You remember I'm a trust buster, you know, speak softly but carry a big stick. Roosevelt, the first Roosevelt, Teddy Roosevelt. All right. This has actually been an agenda of Europe. If you want to get down to the brass tacks, the Civil War was led and implemented from Great Britain. Like it or not, it's just the way it fucking is. All right. Yes, absolutely. Trump was chosen to play a role. Yeah, he volunteered. He volunteered because does anyone find it suspicious that the guy who collected Tesla's papers was Trump's uncle? Anyone find that odd? It's like, oh, the guy who collected all of the information on free energy was Trump's uncle. All right. Exactly. King George funded the Civil War. Absolutely, he did. Absolutely. And this is all a plan, because the futurists, all right, of the time, they knew we would reach a point where we'd have digital money. All right. And who originally kind of got this going was a guy named Turing. All right. Some of you may have heard, if you're into AI, the Turing test. Well, he's the first one who recognized and realized that the software the transactions of information that were encoded could be used as a way of privately transacting money. All right. This guy, but this is fucking years ago. All right. SHA 256, which is what Bitcoin is actually based on. SHA 256 was used in the late 60s and early 70s during the Vietnam War for validating information transactions. That's what SHA 256 was made for. So you had a public address, you had a private address, and the cryptography That's how you validated a message from command, was that protocol. Who came up with that protocol? Well, originally it was a German, but they don't give him credit for that, right? They said it was Turing. Well, really, Turing was hired because of the guy in Germany who had created a machine that they couldn't break the code for. So they hired Turing to actually come in and figure out, how do you break this code? I don't remember the name of the machine. It will probably hit me. But all right, and that was all cryptography. That's the origins, well, the digital and radio origins of cryptography. There was cryptic shit earlier in time. It was all handwritten and shit like that. But this has all been rolling out. Oh, hang on one second. Word from the sponsor. And everyone, please like and subscribe to the channel if you want some more of this information. Hold on one second. Word from a sponsor.
What if I told you a truck driver cracked the code to building a crypto empire? Meet Bitcoin Ben. He went from driving 18-wheelers to creating 6 different ways for regular people to stack Bitcoin and build wealth. This isn't just another crypto course. This is a complete ecosystem where you earn while you learn. First up, the confidential bulk purchase program. Get Bitcoin at wholesale prices through group buying power. Then there's Home to HODL. Convert your home equity directly into Bitcoin instead of cash. Need funding? The Loans for Bitcoin program gets you the capital to buy more crypto. Want passive income? Private Key Capital puts your Bitcoin to work. Hungry for something different? Bitcoin Ben's tokenized beef lets you invest in real cattle backed by blockchain technology. And if you want to mine, Bitcoin Ben's mining program gets you started with the right equipment and knowledge. But here's the kicker. Bitcoin Ben's Crypto Club pays you to learn. Earn 10% on direct referrals, 5% on second level, 2% on third level. This might be the only membership where you make more than you pay. Ben went from 10 years behind the wheel to becoming the world's most unlikely crypto expert. Now he's sharing everything through live training, community events, and proven systems that work. Ready to stop watching from the sidelines? Join Bitcoin Ben's Crypto Club today and start stacking sats while building your financial future. Your truck driving days are over. Your crypto empire starts now.
You're damn right it does. Good morning, everybody. Hang on one second. All of this oxygen's kind of screwing with me. So, okay. Now, I want to get to the point of this. The only way the federal government can get out of this little situation they're in, because they know they have to print more money in order to create inflation so that they can actually pay off the national debt. That's what the inflation is for, because they inflate the money, they devalue the debt using inflation. Now, here's the trick. You have to push the inflation into an amplifying asset, right? Usually, we would recognize it as house prices going up, or eggs going up, or New York exchange going up, right? But unlike the New York exchange or NASDAQ or whatever the fuck, they can actually print more shares. They can launch more companies. They can devalue the shares in accordance with the currency. They need something that they cannot devalue as inflation goes into it. They need an asset that's liquid, easy to hold, and easy to transfer. They need an asset that is not housing, because if you inflate the price of houses, then houses actually become unaffordable. It's what we're living through right now. Now, but what you need is you need an asset that you can push that inflation into, where it's an amplifier, where for every dollar that the market cap of the Bitcoin goes up, it's amplified by the number of the Bitcoin in existence. That's what we call market cap. If the price goes up $1 and there are 19 million fucking, or what, hell, we're almost at 20 million Bitcoin. Do you guys realize that? We're getting close. All right. If the price goes up $1, the market cap goes up $20 million, because using rough numbers, this is not exactly accurate, but $20 million in the market cap for every $1 the price rises. That is called monetary amplification. So what Trump and the global people on Trump's side are doing is they're setting it up where they can all reset their all of their balance sheets using the Bitcoin. Because then you have, and I've said this for years, the Bitcoin is an inflation sponge. That's its only job, is to eat fiat. That's it. It never sleeps, and all it does is eat fiat. That's it. It has no other job. It isn't like it's swinging over and working at fucking McDonald's. No. It's to eat the money, eat the fiat, eat the inflation. And that's what we are going into. And that's why Trump is trying to accumulate as much as possible, because he knows, and this is why they're trying not to buy any, because they know as soon as they buy it, the price is gonna go batshit crazy. They need to accumulate off the books before they buy, because when they buy, they will push up the price of the asset they hold in reserves. It's exactly what happened in 1933 with gold. What did they do? Everybody give us your gold. And as soon as they had it, they revalued it. That's what they're doing with Bitcoin. All right? No. No way I am paying taxes with, with the Bitcoin. No, you should. Let me explain, because this is what my friends on Signal are actually saying. All right? If you purchase the Bitcoin at a lower price, and then when it is time to pay your taxes, it's valued at a higher price. You pay your taxes with the Bitcoin and then use the money you would have paid in cash to purchase more Bitcoin. So it's a wash, right? And you would in turn, you would actually in real US dollars, you would be paying less taxes. Because if you got the Bitcoin at a lower price, and then when you paid your taxes, it was at a higher price, what you paid in real terms would be less than your tax bill. And because you're paying taxes with it, zero capital gains. So you don't have to claim the gains of that appreciation when you pay taxes. The rich people are going to fucking love this. They're going to fucking love this. It's rich people love this shit because they're like, oh, so I could because remember, you can pay your taxes anytime you want to during the year. You don't have to wait until April 15th. So you purchase some Bitcoin, the price goes up. And let's say you purchase it at 85,000 and it hits 125,000 and you're like, you know what? My anticipated taxes will be this. So you send that in to the IRS at that price. Voila. You just got. Now remember, this is the last year for federal income taxes. Mark my word on that. You can take that shit to the bank. They're resetting the whole system. It's just the majority of people, it isn't their job. My job is to watch the system, watch what the fuck's going on in Bitcoin, watch all this shit. And so luckily I have friends up in Washington, D.C., and surprisingly, I have a new friend from Virginia. Let's just say he knows how to work at the farm, or he used to. I apologize, used to. Now, let's jump over here. All right, now, let's get rid of this one. And guys, don't take my word for it. I will show it to you. All right. Let me pull this out. Let me expand this.
Treasurer, Secretary of Treasury control it makes sense, but you can fund it with no government spending. Well, look, we're talking about affordability. That's just your dollar's been getting crushed. You know, the house that you live in didn't inherently get more valuable. The money that you measure it in got worth less. And gold is another indicator. One of the best performers in the past year, 2 years has been gold. And that's just one of the worst performers has been the dollar. So a lot of people hold other assets. Bitcoin's been one of the big rises over the last 10 years for sure. And you could pay your taxes in Bitcoin and avoid capital gains on that. But the president created a strategic Bitcoin reserve. How do you fund it? Well, having one control point, the treasurer, Secretary of Treasury, control it makes sense. But you can fund it with no government spending just by collecting Bitcoin as payments for taxes. So that's what the Bitcoin.
Oh. Hang on one second. Let me turn up the volume a little bit. Oh. That was as high as it went. Sorry, guys. All right. Well, you can pay your taxes in the Bitcoin and avoid capital gains tax. This is the plan, guys. This is how you transition out of the old system into the new system, right? And this is how you do it while still having a structure left. Because if we transition too quickly, all right, that would be bad. If all of a sudden everything collapsed and we had a bunch who had Bitcoin, we had a bunch who had gold, we had a bunch who had US dollars, we had a bunch who had fucking treasury bonds, and look what's going on over in Japan with their bond market. Their bond market is fucked. I mean, Billy fucked. And for years, the yen carry trade was everything. It was a huge, what that was people, because it was so cheap to actually borrow yen, they would borrow yen and sell it into the dollar for years. And that is going away. That is no longer possible. So those yen bonds, they know they're going to devalue. They are going to devalue, or already are. They are devaluing the yen like you ain't never seen before. Japan is printing money like America hasn't even seen yet. And remember, we're reaching a point today, as of today, the Federal Reserve is no longer selling assets into the market. That's like $300 billion a week that they were selling into the market. That ends today. So now, where do you think all this shit's going to go? And Trump is setting it up where it all, and Coinbase is helping him, because this is an education process. This is what my clubs are there for. This is what we have been working towards and preparing for, is this, where the American people learn digital wallets. This is what this is all for. This is the transition. This is just like we transitioned from everyone writing checks to credit cards. For those of you who were around, like back in the day, where if you used a credit card, you had to cha-ching that sumbitch. Cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching. That's where we have been for probably the last 6 years. We're in the cha-ching phase of early credit card use. We are transitioning into the swipey thing. And people had to gradually learn how to use a swipey magnet thing. And then you just walk in, you swipe it. That's where we're at. Except this is with the Federal Reserve, or the federal government will hold the Bitcoin in reserve. Well, like I said, this is exactly like 1933. Because they are accumulating as much of the Bitcoin as possible before they reset the price. Because in 1933, they had to collect the gold so they could revalue it and issue more dollars. They had to have the gold reserve to issue the more fiat money. That's what Trump is setting up to do. And then as price rises, it will accumulate into the Bitcoin. We will hit a point where companies like mine are the most attractive companies in the world because they've already set up for the system. We are setting up for the system. It's why I got a credit union in El Salvador. It's why we have the resort in El Salvador. It's why we've launched Private Key Capital. Because the early adopters of the technology will be the ones to reap the rewards of the technology. Think about it, folks. This is the future. Okay, I'm going to let everyone go. I've yapped enough. Everyone watching right now, give us a call, 941-413-8080. And just ask us, how can you help me get more of the Bitcoin? Remember, because we are a private membership organization, it's no KYC. We have helped a lot of our members get millions of dollars in the Bitcoin, no KYC. Because you are a member of a private membership organization that was constructed on common law, which overrides civil law. You're free. They've just convinced you you're not. You just have to know that you have rights that you can claim. If you do not claim a right, they don't have to acknowledge the right until you claim it. All right? Just like here's an example. You have the right to remain silent. Any words you may or may not say or whatever, we'll take you to court and throw your ass in freaking jail. But they can ask you questions until you claim that right. Where you say, I want my representation. I want my lawyer. As soon as you say that, you are claiming that right. And they have to have a hot cup and shut the fuck up and go away. Because until you claim the right, they are saying you have a right to have a hot cup and shut the fuck up. But until you claim it, they can ask you anything. But as soon as you claim it, they have to have a hot cup of fuck off. It's the same thing with common law rights, which are granted by God, not granted by the fucking government like civil rights. Okay, I digress. Please, give us a call, 941-413-8080. And just ask, how can you get me more friggin' Bitcoin? We offer personal loans. We offer home refinancing where you can refinance your house and we help you buy Bitcoin. We can help you get a loan against your Bitcoin to buy more Bitcoin. There are so many ways we can help you get more friggin' Bitcoin. This is a race for the Bitcoin. This is the gold rush. Everyone, grab your shovels, in this case, a phone, and give us a call, 941-413-8080. Love you guys. I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye-bye.
What if I told you a truck driver cracked the code to building a crypto empire? Meet Bitcoin Ben. He went from driving 18-wheelers to creating 6 different ways for regular people to stack Bitcoin and build wealth. This isn't just another crypto course. This is a complete ecosystem where you earn while you learn. First up, the confidential bulk purchase program. Get Bitcoin at wholesale prices through group buying power. Then there's Home to HODL. Convert your home equity directly into Bitcoin instead of cash. Need funding? The Loans for Bitcoin program gets you the capital to buy more crypto. Want passive income? Private Key Capital puts your Bitcoin to work. Hungry for something different? Bitcoin Ben's tokenized beef lets you invest in real cattle backed by blockchain technology. And if you want to mine? Bitcoin Ben's mining program gets you started with the right equipment and knowledge. But here's the kicker. Bitcoin Ben's Crypto Club pays you to learn. Earn 10% on direct referrals, 5% on second level, 2% on third level. This might be the only membership where you make more than you pay. Ben went from 10 years behind the wheel to becoming the world's most unlikely crypto expert. Now he's sharing everything through live training, community events, and proven systems that work. Ready to stop watching from the sidelines? Join Bitcoin Ben's Crypto Club today and start stacking sats while building your financial future. Your truck driving days are over. Your crypto empire starts now.